Is there a sound that makes you annoyed, that makes you furious? Last time that you gathered with your loved ones, were there any songs that were sung or listened to? And when you think about Malmö, is there a sound or even a song that comes to mind? Sounds are everywhere. We make sounds. Nature makes sounds. The things we make, the machines and different devices, our cars, they make sounds. Some of these are noise. Some sounds we make when we're together. Sounds are everywhere. And maybe, even if we consider that we live in a very visually dominant times, we're still very much surrounded by sounds. And this is something that people, deaf people and people with hearing loss, experience every day. Maybe the loss of focus or the lack of focus on sounds. When my late grandmother, for instance, her past the last decades of her lives, she was hearing impaired. And she stopped going to cafes and restaurants because of her hearing aid could not support the echo of those spaces that were designed without actually thinking about the soundscape. We also make songs. There's so many songs in the world. There are actually 100 million songs on Spotify today, some of them being sounds, maybe more than songs. We make songs, we listen to songs when we come together. But songs are also never just songs. Songs are about connecting. Songs are also about differentiating and disconnecting. Welcome to this seminar and book launch on futures of sound and song, very much focused on how we might gather in the future through music and through sound. With this, I would like to welcome you to Media Evolution, a place of community, a place where of work, a place of gathering, also a place where we want to build competence and foresight, a non-profit, members-owned organization. My name is Reeta. I lead our collaborative foresight work here, and I will be your host today for this seminar. We have different reasons why we're gathered here today. We're here to close our collaborative foresight on futures of sound and song and share some insights and questions that emerged in that process. We're also here to launch one of the outcomes of this work, a book called The Waves of the Blue Sea. And we're here for an opening of a very interesting project called Learn, Create, Engage that Media Evolution hosts together with the region of Skåne with the support of the European Social Fund to support the competence development of people in creative and cultural industries in Skåne. So closing, launching, and opening today. Our program looks like this. I will be giving you a little bit of a background, how we got here, and opening up for some of the questions that we have discovered along the way. Then we have 3 people who are in their way researching, creating, and sharing sounds and songs, who will be sharing their experiences around working with music and sound in the world to give us some ideas around where the future might be heading. And then we open up for your questions, so jot down, keep them in mind for the end before we close and get some more coffee. So we're here for the closing of that collaborative foresight cycle that we have hosted over the past couple of months here at Media Evolution, a collaborative foresight cycle that was built around a question of how we might gather around sound and song and how that might sound, feel, and look like in a future Malmö in 2050, so in 26 years. This topic was prompted by the Eurovision song contest that will, in a few weeks, will bring together or bring thousands of people to Malmö. Will also bring thousands and millions of people to watch it over their screens. Will bring people together to celebrate through sound and song, to connect through sound and song. But as the Eurovision also shows, and what we feel very much here in Malmö, songs are never really only about connecting. They're also about disconnecting. They arouse pain and questions around values and where we belong and who gets to belong as well. And with this exploration on the futures of sound and song, around gathering in particular, we were curious about how are the technologies that are used to create and share sound, and songs, how are they shaping the future? Also, we were curious about how do sounds impact us, both in negative and positive ways, and how might that bring about different futures? We're also curious about how do the external, so-called external factors around that are taking place in our world, climate change, cultural changes, the ways our cities are changing, even conflicts, impact the sounds and songs of our lives in the future. In this collaborative foresight cycle, as in our collaborative foresight work, Linol, we applied our 3 different principles in approaching the future. First of all, wanting to expand into different possible futures, understanding that in the present moment, there are multiple different possibilities, rather than just that one future that we would try to get to and understand. We were also curious and critical about our assumptions about the future and wanting to work on expanding those as our assumptions in the present about the future shape our actions that then in turn shape the future. And we also took on this assignment with the understanding that futures are created. No one is overly powerful. No one has the power over the future only, but we have a collective responsibility in thinking about what are the futures that we are creating with our actions today. People got together since January until March and here today. There are some of you I recognize from the open workshops that we held for signal scanning and community critique. And then we had 4 days together with a core group of 20 people who got together to imagine different possible alternative and desirable futures of sound and song. And here we are today in the seminar and book release. This core group was 20 people. We had a sound engineer, we had designers, we had musicians, journalists, event organizers, music organizers, and other people who were passionate, interested, or working with sound and song. Maybe, I know some of you are here, maybe you want to just wave hello. Yeah, if you're curious to hear more, reach out to these people here. They got together. And one of the things that we did was to create scenarios of possible futures. Not to say that these are only the 3 different ways that the future might pan out. We very much stretched our imaginations based on what we observed today and thought in terms of what if this thing actually went all the way into its fruition. 3 scenarios that you will also find in the book that we're launching today, Waves of the Blue Sea, Futures of Sound and Song. They're beautiful illustrations by Mukame that you will find in the book. There are also commentary chapters with Nicholas writing about music and power, something that he'll talk about today. There's also a commentary chapter by Liselott and Marie from Gell Architects around the sounds of our cities, a topic that we'll be touching on today as well. There are 3 stories about based on these future scenarios written by the author and world builder and researcher Paul, Ray and Raven, who's over here. Paul, do you want to? Hello? Hi, Paul. And these stories are invitations to get in to these futures and see them and feel them and hear them also through the ears and eyes of actual people in these futures. In these futures, in one of the futures, you will meet a group of friends, including Anders and Lasse, who are getting ready for a night out, listening to music, where AI powered by the world's sound bank seamlessly blends their musical tastes and latest playlists without them even noticing, except for Lasse, who has opted out of the system. You will also meet Jan, who is biking through Malmö, through all the different soundscapes of the different neighborhoods, where he hears them with his implant, the brain phone, also called the third ear. And he's rushing to get to a rare event where in somewhere south of Möllan, a rare composition, a new sound, a new song has been dropped, and he wants to get there first. In this future, Malmö is part of one of these acoustically augmented cities where maps become songs and songs become maps. And you'll also get to experience a future in the story The Way, where Malmö looks very different from today, from the easy years of today, where the effects of climate change have broken down many of the infrastructures that we take for granted today. But there are sounds, there are songs. There's also Ngeda, who is a Sony, who is working to use sound and songs to bring people together to provide stability in unstable times. But there's Vojna and the other Sonoras, who are there to break stability, who want to create loud experiences where they can belong together in their non-belonging, in the very moment, in the gig, in the dance, in the loud, disturbing party. So we invite you to read in and dive into this book. The book is very much an invitation to imagine, to open up for different possible futures, and to start to reflecting when it comes to our sounds and songs. What are the futures that you want to and we want to be part of creating? And for this, I would like to open up for our presentations for people who are very much observing and shaping the futures of sounds and songs, and who will be sharing their experiences and their perspectives onto some of the questions that we'll be discussing today.